And the only reason I support aborting a Black child when it comes to it being male is because when I look at the Black community and the problems in it, it's associated with males and male pathology. When you talk about violence, it's associated with the males. When you talk about the, women being forced upon, it's the males. When you talk about drugs, it's the males.
All right, welcome back to another video of Overreacting. No book of, but I go by the name of Eli. As always, we got Jew with us.
What it do? It's your boy Jew. And make sure you like and subscribe. We got more content for you. You heard?
I already know what y'all gonna say. Ace is still not here. The good news is we did get in contact with him. We found him. You know, he was lost. We found him. He gonna be back on the next ones. I promise y'all. Like, you know what I mean? He back from Turkey. Got the new veneers. So if y'all see him smiling more than next year,
he acting different.
He for sure acting different. Listen, before we get into this next video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if y'all enjoy the content we do. This next video was sent over to us by you guys. It's a bit of a compilation video. It's a topic I've been meaning to talk about forever, and I just want to bring more awareness to it because I don't see enough conversations happening about this discourse. So we're gonna play this video. We're gonna come back and we're gonna give our thoughts on it.
This might be controversial, but I obviously don't care. I always tell my potential partners, if I ever get pregnant with a son, I'm returning it to the sender because I don't want to raise one. I don't care. I don't care. I might as well be one of those people that flip out and cry when they're having a girl at a gender reveal because I do not want to have a son. I don't want to raise one. I do not want to potentially raise someone's abuser. I don't want to potentially raise someone in this society. I just don't see a possibility of raising someone that doesn't contribute to a woman suffering in some way. And I just don't want to be a part of that. I don't think that it's worth having one.
Bitches in my cross face have abortions sometimes. No, I'ma have abortions always. Get that fetus, kill that fetus, get that fetus, kill that fetus.
Matthew, I'm only interested in being a mom to a girl. I'm not carrying a son to term, and if I do, they're not coming home from the hospital with me. I'm not raising a son by any means necessary, because the minute he even shows me that he may be right now, I'm not doing an intervention. I'm not doing any type of therapy. I'm not gonna try to work with it to try to change it. Nope. You could just get the fuck out of my house right now. Turning into an incel, he's getting the fuck out of my house.
And the only reason I support aborting a Black child when it comes to it being male is because when I look at the Black community and the problems in it, it's associated with males and male pathology. When you talk about violence, it's associated with the males. When you talk about the, women being forced upon, it's the males. When you talk about drugs, it's the males. When you talk about the fatherless children, it's the males. Every single problem that is happening in the Black community, you point to the males and then you have the culprit.
What's your thoughts?
First of all, one of those young ladies, comb your hair, ma. That's first. Second, I think it's pivotal that us as men really, really, really deep down become more selective on who we infuse ourselves with, because just as much as they say, young Black men need their father, clearly young Black women need their fathers as well. And I don't think this mindset will be the same if their fathers were around. Clearly, I believe there's absent fathers for these young ladies that believe they want to eliminate men or they hate on men. And I'm pretty sure that rhetoric came from another woman, might be their mama.
I agree with you about the father aspect.
Yeah.
But we did a reaction video where the women agreed that they had great fathers and they still hated men.
Most women who do hate men have great fathers, brothers, and men.
The father aspect is very important.
Yes.
But these women seem to still be brainwashed to think the worst of men, to the point where it's either this is genocide, and they're talking about it so, casual, as if like you just not killing a whole human being at this point. And for them to say, to joke around, not even joke, for them to be serious about if it's a Black male or if it's a male, then I'm gonna just terminate it, or I'm gonna leave it at the dumpster side of the road, or whatever the case is. This is dangerous rhetoric that honestly should be, there should be some ramifications. It's hate speech at the end of the day. And for women that have platforms and a talk like this, and again, then try to flip the narrative and try to say you as a man hate women, you can't get much more hateful than wanting to actively
eliminate
an innocent soul. You get what I'm saying? Like that, like you not even taking into consideration how you could raise that child to make sure that he's not the evil or predator or whatever the case is. You're just automatically assuming the worst. You get what I'm saying? So that is a very toxic and dangerous mindset to have. And I don't think enough people are aware that this conversation is happening. The one young lady, she was on our show. She was actively on our show. You get what I'm saying? So like you said, fellas, just be careful with the women that you are speaking to, because these are women, everyday women. You won't be able to pick them out in a crowd until you really have a conversation with them and you see how much of a misandrous mindset they have, and how they actively view men and potentially want to harm your child. And again, we always talk about, the responsibility when it comes to procreation and sex, but women are clearly telling you sex is a equivalent exchange, right?
Yeah.
But childbirth is not. And they are clearly telling you, regardless of your feelings, I'm gonna terminate this child, and there's nothing you can do about it, to your face. You get what I'm saying? So again, when we talk about these sex is equivalent exchange conversations, we do not talk about how childbirth is one-sided. You get what I'm saying? Like, no matter how you feel about it, like that's like a man saying, yo, you know what? If you have a woman, I'm gonna take you to go get an abortion. Like that would be crazy if a man said that, you know?
With you saying that, two things pops up in my mind, because let alone you're having a child with this woman, and now not only is she's poisoning the women that's listening to her, there's plenty of young girls, watching, listening, and hearing this, that she's poisoning. And then you got to be concerned about when she has a daughter and she's using that same manipulation or that training on that young lady. You know what I mean? So it's very scary out here. But one thing we don't speak on much, we always could signify like, oh, when there's a deadbeat father, but we don't speak on, the deadbeat mother. And they're clearly saying, hey, I'm going to abandon this child if it's a young man or if it's a boy. We don't speak on how much women neglect their roles as mothers. And if a lot of us didn't have our grandmothers, aunties, or whatever, great grandmothers or whoever took care of us, a lot of us wouldn't be where we are today. You know what I'm saying? Now that we don't see the active grandmother role, a lot of these kids are being neglected. And yes, fathers do need to step up, but also, like you said, mothers are also abandoning their roles as moms. They're not doing it. They're trying to drop them off to somebody else. I see so many videos where mothers are not stepping up, doing what they want to do, doing what they're supposed to do, and now we're stuck with this whole thing. Blame the man. I don't know, bro.
I always say, men and women, we are human, and we are both flawed, and I don't think one is more inherently evil than the other. I really don't. I think if you leave women up to their own devices, they will do so. The conversation we don't have is how many women have done things. They're so concerned about what men have done to women, and people don't realize that women have done a lot of dangerous and toxic things to men as well. Like, don't think that just because you're a woman that you are inherently perfect and that you do no wrong, you never did no wrong to a man. Like, that is false. And I think we're starting to see that more, obviously, with the advent of social media and women having the microphones. You know what I mean? So we're starting to see it because there's so much light been put on men, and men, we have to take some accountability as far as the things that men have done in the world. Like, men are not perfect. We have done some fucked up shit. You get what I'm saying? But that's not all men, just like it's not all women. And I hate this rhetoric that we have. But again, this is not solving the problem. This is making more men want to actively leave their community and maybe go and pursue women in other parts of the world, because they don't have this mindset. They're not going to try to terminate your child on just because he's a boy,
I think that's what makes this conversation a little bit different, because I don't know about most men, but the men I'm around would hold a man accountable. You know what I mean? So for the most part, if a dude is being a deadbeat, you like, yo, man, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like, I've never had the opportunity to do that, because all my friends are great fathers, which I'm blessed to say that, right? But if a dude is doing something, if I ever seen a friend putting his hand on his woman, I would do that. I don't actively see women holding other women accountable, and I think that's the flaw why it's frustrating. You get what I'm saying? Not saying that men can't say anything, but they always speak on how they don't want men voicing or policing women issues, but when are the women going to say something to them? Like who's bringing this conversation up to women, and how can we get this heard or understood? Because clearly it's just rambling.
This rhetoric is no different from a Nazi having this mindset towards a Jew, or
I was thinking
a racist person having this mindset towards the black people. It's the same rhetoric, and when you allow this rhetoric to continue, then there's going to be dangerous ramifications.
Do you think you hear this from other groups of women?
I haven't heard it, but I wouldn't. I don't discount anything. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we get focused on our community a lot because our community seems to be the ones in front of the cameras with the microphones yelling the loudest. So it's like it's hard to not see.
For sure.
But again, when we dive into these conversations and we look at a podcast, the white podcasts out there, they having the same conversations.
Yeah, they are.
Literally verbatim. The same conversations with bigger platforms, bigger audiences, bigger following, bigger subscribers. But everybody gets so fixated on the black community. Like I think everybody's having these communities. It just maybe not on camera. It probably behind closed doors and stuff like that, or maybe in their girlfriend's chat or whatever, the guy friend's chat. Pretty sure it happens.
I mean, they do tend to hate men more. You know what I mean? Even, I hate to bring them up. The LGBTQ community hate heterosexual men. You know what I mean? And who supports them more? Mostly women.
That's why they be aligning.
So
the only people that could be homophobic and still be team LGBT. Like that's the craziest thing to me. Like, you know what I mean? But again, let us know y'all thoughts in the comments. Do y'all see this type of rhetoric often? I just thought it was important for us to share this content because, again, I don't want people to say we just making stuff up. This is stuff that we are actively seeing. We just don't say nothing about it. And I think it's time for men to, put our foot down and say enough is enough. The misandry rhetoric, the blatant genocide of men, like this stuff has to stop. Like, and I don't know how we gonna get there, but the conversation needs to be had. And we just got to be real.
What do we do as men from our perspective, even hearing this? Like, how do you even find this out? Like, if that's how a woman feels, like, do we need to start bringing these up in a dating conversation, like dropping the clip, like, yo, let me play this video from DailyRapUpCrew.
What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like, what do we do?
I don't know.
Because there's no way to really source it out. I mean, no, because these women are pretty much vocal,
I think if you see stuff like this online, don't be afraid to, flag the content, try to bring it aware to these platforms' attention that they actively are promoting, subconsciously promoting this type of rhetoric that is harmful and dangerous. And if it's not getting flagged, then we need to hold these platforms accountable for allowing certain rhetoric to go, like them people, the higher up people, can't talk about because we gonna get flagged. Like, you get them
for sure.
They definitely don't tolerate no type of
disrespect,
no nothing. Like, and how they hold you accountable is they go straight to the platforms and they try to deplatform you or whatever the case is to make sure you don't constantly spread that rhetoric. And I think that's something men need to do more often. Like,
I think another thing we need to do is, if you have a family member or a sibling, bring this conversation up just to see where their mind is at. And sometimes, not saying you could talk them out of that mindset, but you can do what we're doing right now. Play this clip for them, because I think it starts and ends with a conversation, and maybe you will be helping them. Because if somebody just listening to, if we never played this clip, a lot of people probably don't know. Like you said, they would just assume that we're making this stuff up. But this conversation is being had in secret rooms and secret organizations or whatever the hell they want to call it. But we have to sit some of these young ladies down. And that's why when we have our show, we ask these questions. And like I said, once you put a microphone or a camera in front of a woman or the government, they will get exposed.
One thing I found out about a lot of women is if you dig deep enough in conversation, you will see some of the same rhetoric that they talk against, or they say that that's not what they do. They for sure have the same mindset. I'm not saying all women, but it's important to dig a little deeper. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. We drop new content here every single day. Join a YouTube membership and join us on Patreon. You get early access to all of our content, all of our videos.
Early.
The interviews that we got coming up, the podcast. We bring the podcast, I promise you. We are bringing the podcast back.
Oh.
I've been seeing the DMs. I've been seeing the comments. You know what I mean? I've been 2 months ago. I have it like, listen, we are working on that. I promise you, like, you know,
it's on the way.
Make sure y'all cop the merch, DailyRapUpCrew.co, and we see you guys on the next one.
It's a wrap.